Sangatsu no Lion, or March Comes In Like a Lion. I don't know what to say about this. It was brilliant. I mean, it felt like a Ghibli movie. Or, no, not even a Ghibli movie. It felt more like a Makoto Shinkai movie. Not animation-wise. We wish. If only. Makoto Shinkai's level of animation could be put into actual anime episodes for like a whole series. But no, the feeling of this one, where it's very slow, it's very paced, it's very methodical about what it does. I mean, the whole beginning of this episode, the whole first half of this episode was so dark and emo. I had no idea what I was getting into. I mean, that's one thing I strongly recommend. If you haven't watched the first episode yet, just go watch it. Stop watching this review, go in blind, because that is what I did, and it felt brilliant. But yeah, otherwise, if you're sticking around, God, yeah, it was really good. Just showing us the level of depression that Rei has gotten into, revealing to us bit by bit little bits of his past that really tore him down. His sister, brother, and father that ended up distancing themselves from him because he was better than them at shogi. The fact that it all led up to this big final confrontation with his father. God damn. That was intense. And I really didn't know where it was going to go from there. I mean, you didn't really know implications and the seriousness of what was going on while it was happening either. I mean, it was like, oh, okay. They know each other? Oh, it's his father. Cool. Oh, they're not blood related. Like, all of these things coming through one by one, piling up until you finally realized just how serious this was. They'd separated themselves from him, that he'd ended up moving out by himself because he couldn't take it anymore. He was probably, at least mentally, being abused. I mean, we had that bit at the beginning where there's the woman who I assume is what his sister looks like now that she's all grown up. And I suppose stepsister would be the better term, or adoptive sister. I don't know what kind of scenario that really is. I mean, I know that Rei isn't related to the father. I don't know if Rei was related to the mother, or if he was just straight up adopted into that family. So yeah, we still don't know much about that. But yeah, his adoptive sister, I assume that was, at the beginning, talking about how the name Rei suits him because it means zero in Japanese and he has nothing. No friends, no family. God, that was deep. And that was what we goddamn entered in after the brilliant opening. And my God, the opening was a work of art. They were really doing brilliantly on this one. Both the opening and the ending looked great. The opening especially, I love the music. I mean, Bump of Chicken did both of the songs for this, but the opening was what really drew me in. I mean, I just love how the visuals tell such a deep story. I mean, it's the story that we got within this first episode as well. The idea that Rei is depressed. I mean, constantly in the water like he's drowning and then being wrapped up by the black tangled thorns, which then start to, like, seep into him and corrupt him, turning him dark. Oh, man. That's deep. Especially since the song is so chill and relaxing comparatively. Oh, man, it's brilliant. So, yeah, I loved that. And then once we got into the episode, it was so good. Like, we had that French music playing as the OST, which sounded brilliant. All of the artwork looks really good. Like, the backgrounds have just got this pastel feel to them. They look so nice, so watercolory. I know pastel and watercolor are two different things. I'm just bad at art. I'm not sure which one it is. All I know is I like them. They're very minimalist, but nice. They look real good. They kind of remind me of the backgrounds from Haita Kenso no Grimgar, which is by A1 Pictures. Whereas this one is by Shaft, who aren't normally this detailed in the backgrounds and everything, at least as far as I've seen. They're normally even more minimalist than this. What they are always good at is getting feelings across through their art, through their animation. Showing feelings, showing what they want to get across. Whether it's like an overall feeling of depression, an overall feeling of happiness, of joy. Oh man, they did it so well in this one. I mean, like I said, that first half of the episode. So many moments where we had our boy Rei. And when it focused on him, it just looked so good. I mean, sometimes he looked normal. Other times, super high exposure. Hair was blowing in the wind in front of his eyes. Looked really emo. You could tell that the depression was seeping in. That first scene where he went to stare out the window and you had like the light from the water reflecting on his face. Oh, God, that was gorgeous, man. And then when he went to go get the train, and it shows him, like, standing in front of the train before he actually gets on it, as if he was actually about to commit suicide. And that's probably what was going through his head. That's what they're trying to say, is that he was contemplating suicide. He's just so detached from the world. God, I love Shaft for that kind of stuff. It's so good. And even when they, like, showed the past while he was talking to his father, like, everything suddenly looked so happy there. So bright and colourful and cheerful. And then we got to the point where he won and his siblings didn't. And you had the sister looking back at him and sneering at him. And him being left alone out in the cold. And it had that effect where it was like snow coming down. God damn it, I love Shaft. That's all I can say there. I mean, they did it so much better as well when we actually get to Crescent Moon Bakery, I think it's called. Mikazuki means Crescent Moon. It's the Mikazuki Bakery, but I don't know if they actually call it that in the translation. But we met, like, them. Hinata, Akari, and Momo. The three sisters who work there. And suddenly everything again was so bright, so colourful. They had these big, thick lines drawn on them. They were in such light and bright colours while he was with them. And he actually started to smile. Ray started to smile while he was hanging out with those guys. It was so nice. And it takes you back to that opening again where everything is dark and black and he's falling through water and thorns and shit. And then you see these little bits of light. And the little bits of light slowly turn into these three bodies. And obviously that's these three girls. This is his happy place. So that was just adorable. I mean, we have Akari, the older sister, who basically acts as the mother for the two younger siblings. And she is very motherly. She's very ada kind of thing. That was hilarious, seeing her try to take care of the other children. Momo, who's still like barely 3 or 4, I would imagine. So she's still just bouncing around like mad, not really having much to think about in her own little world. And then Hinata, who's just like super energetic. The pixie type of girl who just is always running around doing things a bit airheaded. Man, they're all so perfect. And that's why I knew this was going to be an Iyashike anime. It took me a while to figure that out. The whole first half of this episode was so dark and deep. I thought it was going to be like some deep psychological drama kind of anime. But then when we got to this point, it was like, oh, okay, I get it. So this is going to be about depression, but it's also going to be an Iyashike anime where Rei eventually learns to accept his past and move forward and actually find the joy in life. Possibly. Maybe not. But that's the kind of feeling that I'm getting from it now. Thanks to those three characters coming in and being so healing just in general with their natural style. And everything really changed to the anime when they appeared. So before that, like I said, it was all dark. The animation was all making it look dark. It got so bright when they came into this room. And then you can also hear the voices of the goddamn cats, which is just so out of place and so weird to me. It really makes me wonder where that choice came in when they decided, let's have the cats actually talk. Let's have us actually be able to hear the cats. Because it adds a lot of humour to it when you have cats acting like cats, like grabbing all over Akari's dress and saying that they need to be fed. Even though obviously they can't understand the cat's language, we get to hear them saying, I haven't been fed since this point. It's got like little writing saying he's lying. It's brilliant. It adds so much comedy. The visual comedy in this was great. Something that Shaft always does brilliantly. Since way back in their Bakemonogatari days, they can get across just so much comedy just with the way they draw things. So yeah, this was a brilliant start. I mean, Rei, as a shogi player, apparently a brilliant genius, just shut down his father and is feeling horrible about it. I mean, he was listening to that news story about the child who had actually murdered his father and beat him to death with a hammer. And it was so weird having Rei think of himself in that kind of scenario, talking about how every time he put down one of the shogi pieces, it felt like he was punching his father. He could feel the flesh being hit. And it made that scene so much more powerful, because it was before that we'd already seen their little shogi match. It was very quiet and minimalist. You didn't really hear anything other than the little tap, tap, kind of noises of the shogi tiles moving around. And then seeing it through Rei's eyes, where you could even see his hair in front of the camera. It was so brilliant. Seeing his hair, seeing his arms as he did it, hearing him talk about how he'd imagined beating his father to death while he did it, because it felt like that. Seeing that moment where he grabbed his arm at the end, because he felt so messed up about the whole thing. God damn. This anime is incredible. This is what I'm talking about. It's just telling a story so well. Telling a story about depression, about Rei's scenario, the life that he's leading right now. And I love how it's going through that depression, but it's also acting as an Iyashike kind of thing with all the happy times. I mean, when Rei went to school as well, they could have made that very sad. Because, I mean, nobody at the school seems to care about him. I'm not sure how often he actually goes, because he makes the joke that he actually wants to try going today, so I'm not sure if he doesn't show up too often. But his only friend at the school seems to be that teacher who's also interested in shogi, and they had that hilarious bit where the teacher figured out that Rei probably makes more money than him monthly. Oh, man. So, yeah, that was brilliant. The comedy in this one is amazing, but it's also telling a really deep, dramatic story, and it's doing both really well, mixing them very well. So I can't wait to see more of this. This is anime of the season contender too. It's crazy. Saturday has Shimatsu no Izeta, Magical Girl Rising Project, and Sangatsu no Leon that are all very good. Very good. All three are in my top 5 of the season, and they all come out on the same goddamn day around the same goddamn time. But yeah, incredible first episode. I loved it. Shaft are going in hard. Bump of Chicken did amazing with their music. And all of the seiyuu involved in this were great. I mean, even the teacher. I don't know any of the seiyuu off the top of my head, but I even knew the teacher, who doesn't seem like he's going to be a majorly important character. And then right at the end, we had that chubby kid show up. And that was such a weird little moment. I mean, his sound effect was literally chub, which was hilarious. But the fact that he's gone down Rei's letterbox, it seems, and taken whatever letter he was waiting for out, especially if it's his money. Oh man, I hope that's not his adoptive little brother. That would be such a dick move. But yeah, I have no idea who he is, but I instantly liked him. Like, he's got that cheeky smile to him. As long as he turns out to just be a little bit of a pest and not a complete and utter dick, like, I'll like him. I like his design. It's rare to see chubby anime characters. He looks so proud of himself despite the way he looks. So yeah, I can't wait to meet that character and to get further into this story, to understand Rei's mind more and see what led him to this and what... I mean, you get the general idea of what happened between his family, but they let it get way out of hand to the point where Rei had to leave the house. So Jesus. Yeah, can't wait to see more of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about all the characters. Do you think this is going to be a Yashike? Do you think it's just going to be depressing? Let me know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this review, wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more. And I will see you guys next time.